It's 11 AM on a Tuesday. I'm not drinking whiskey. Yeah, glass bottle Coke hits different, but Group B, let's get into it. Furia are the best team in the Americas, and they're back to playing the Counter-Strike that we really loved them for. Art was an absolute nuisance. He led the entire group in impact rating and opening frags, by a wide margin, I must add. No one really compares, especially not out of this crowd. Now, the duo of Yuri and Keserato were, as always, solid, delivered. Yuri, lots of damage, Keserato, lots of multis. The two of them playing at such a high level is part of the reason why Furia was so dangerous for so many years. They were even dangerous when they didn't have a good AWPer or support roles figured out. They still fragged. The two of them showed up here again, so no surprises. Of course, the biggest problem for Furia in the past was that role balance, which has been fixed by the signing of Safe. Bringing a smart, stable AWPer has unlocked the full potential of the roster again, allowing Art to do his thing, allowing them to really balance out the aggression with that passive, well thought out, well balanced playstyle of a good AWPer. It's given the Brazilian fanbase a team worth cheering for again, really. Even Drop looks good. Drop filling in the Vinny roles, that supportive element on the rifles. Really liked him. I liked him, honestly, from the moment they signed him to the main team. And yeah, you see here, clearly he can be on the team when they're performing, when they're firing. He fits it. The Katowice champions had some struggles early on, likely a bit of a hangover from the success in Poland, but also having to bring Rain back in, having played with JKS in various ways in Kato. So they pulled through in the end, but it was a bit of a rough start. They were helped out by the fact that they got to play Furia in the final game, and Furia had no real incentive to try in that game, which is why everyone hates round robin group stages. But ESL don't give a shit, so here we are. We're still getting this sort of completely dead match where one team has no incentive to win, the other one needs to win to get out of the group. I wonder who wins. Anyway, the standout performer for FaZe was Brokey in this event. The standout performer for FaZe was Brokey in this group stage, but it really was a team effort overall. He didn't stand out that much from the pack, like he wasn't leagues ahead of the rest of them. Twist played good, they all played pretty good. Rops was a bit quiet in terms of like having big rounds and stuff, but he didn't play poorly, he just didn't shine to quite the same extent. Like, oh no. They made playoffs, we'll see how they do that. I think that's the bigger test for this kind of side. Wow, Vitality, the super team, continues to disappoint. Apex spoke of self-confidence issues in the team, which I can totally see. Magisk really was the only player popping off, giving us rounds to really latch onto, moments that actually excited. I believe Zywoo, it feels a bit weird saying this, because the very first event they played with this roster, he looked fine, but the next two he's looked pretty bad. Well, bad by his standards, which is just like an average AWPer. I think that might have something to do with the fact they have to comment English. Like, he has to speak English, which I said, I've listened to his English, I didn't like it. People are like, oh no, he's confident. Look, listen to this interview. Like, I can hear the French accent. Like, it's something I'm pretty adept at noticing and reading into. His English ain't great, so listening to English, comming in English, like all that sort of thing might be a bit of an issue for him now. I hope it's something that gets fixed pretty quickly, because I want to see Zywoo back to competing with Simple, at least in the Twitter debates, for best player in the world. I want to see that level of Zywoo return. So yeah, realistically, this team, it's become a bit of a test now of Zonic and Apex and their ability to figure out how to make a winning roster out of this jumble of pieces. They've got a month because the next event is the RMR, and they have to make it to the major. There's just no two ways about it. You are this team. You have to make the major. You don't have any excuses. So yes, they're a completely fresh squad who need time to be cohesive. Yes, we should give them 3 to 6 months. Blah, blah, blah. But making it out of the RMR is a minimum. Making it out of groups here realistically felt like a bit of a minimum standard for a roster of this caliber, but considering this was the group of death, I'm okay to make an exception here as long as they get out the RMR. That's what I'm saying. They got a month period, flip it, turn it around, figure it out, move on from that. Outsiders. This is a weird time for the CS teams right now. I mean, we can attach an asterisk for this event, for them, and potentially for other CIS squads. That being said, their loss to Vitality in the final game was a letdown. It was a letdown. It's becoming a trend for them to look really strong, but ultimately not quite have the results that show for it. Like, they look like top 5, top 3 team in the world at times. But then you check the results, you're like, top 4s at best. Going out in groups here, like, the results don't quite match what my eyes are telling me, like what on paper this squad should be, and then what I'm seeing in the server from guys like Flit, from guys like Yekindar. I'm like, wow, this should be a banger team, and the results aren't quite reaching, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But that being said, I don't know what to suggest. The coming months seem pretty uncertain for this side, as in like what events they can attend, can't attend, which players are going to get to see their family, and which players won't. I feel a bit awkward making too many predictions and too many judgments. So I'm going to just leave it like that. Hopefully they make it to the RMR. Hopefully they can make it out of it. We'll see how the situation develops for them. All the best. Ents playing like this is what made this the group of death. Sure, it looked stacked on paper going in, but Ents being one of the best two teams and playing some really excellent Counter-Strike made it the group of death undisputably. Like, indisputably. Without question. Whatever you want to call it. Ents' performance was really something of beauty. Like, it was something that really thrilled me as a big fan of Snappy, the way he calls his teams, T-sides, the players he's assembled, these young guys, these lesser known guys, players who haven't necessarily had the best opportunities so far. This is their big shot and they're really delivering. Spinks was excellent, as we've come to expect from this young Israeli rifler, but I was most pleasantly surprised by Hades. Now, I've known this guy is legit since his time on Vizsla Krakow, where he demonstrated really elite mechanics in order to carry a Polish side struggling for firepower, to put it politely. ESL Pro League and IM Katowice is the first time he has put together back-to-back convincing performances at elite events, securing my belief that he's integral for Ents' success in the future. As for the rest of the side, Diha is adjusting to a slightly more passive role. If you look at his opening kill numbers, they're down about 5 to 10% across the board. He's generally making space, allowing Madden to be that guy to just get in the other team's face and just have at it, take those big duels, take those opening fights, rip heads off. That's what you sign Madden for. If you haven't seen my demo review of Madden, you should. It's on Ancient. He goes nuts. Like, the guy's a beast. But yeah, Diha looks already pretty comfortable in that new role. Madden fucking popped off, so love seeing that from him. And then Snappy, not only was he calling a great game, he actually had some couple of fragging maps, like some really big fragging maps. So all in all, this is exactly the kind of result Ents would have been looking for when they upgraded Dota to Madden. This was a statement of intent. Well, Sprout didn't exactly disappoint, to be honest. I expected this from them, so I can't really be disappointed. This was more of a testing ground for the young players to find out exactly what they've got in Stair and Marix. Marix didn't thrill me. Gonna be honest, didn't thrill me. He was a really big fragger in the first week or two, maybe 3 that he signed with the team. Since then, it's been a slow descent downwards, and this event really wasn't feels harsh to say scraping the bottom of the barrel, something ridiculous like that. He's still quite young, still has a lot of development to make, but I think it showed that of the two, he is the least ready for this level. Stair, on the other hand, was phenomenal. He's the reason I picked Sprout to win that first map that they did win against Outsiders, I believe, yeah, on that Vertigo overtime. Stair looked amazing even in their losses. Honestly, that guy's got a lot of potential. He's only 17, even though he looks about 72. Very excited to see what Sprout can do with those two. I think Marix definitely has room to develop and has big fragging in him. Just didn't see it here. Hence why I said he kind of disappointed me in this event, but Stair's legit. The rest of the team played about how I expected them to play, so no shockers there. We'll see what Sprout roster ends up actually playing the next year or two. Stair has definitely confirmed his place on the side. Marix still has a little bit convincing to do, but should be a solid pickup too. Alright, thanks for watching. Like, comment, sub, all that good stuff. Thanks to my patrons, my $10 a month guys, my elite contenders, £10 a month. The Queen's currency. XL and Lager, really appreciate your support. Well, that's all for this one. Goodbye.